saying they have been forced to release hundreds of illegal immigrants due to the overcrowding at detention centers. This follows DHS Secretary Nielsen warning that the crisis is spiraling out of control, while immigration advocates say the administration is creating the chaos. Tom Homan is the former acting director of ICE and a Fox News contributor. So how can it be true, these two things? It's got to be one or the other. Either there is actual overcrowding at detention centers or this is not real chaos. Tom, which is it?
It's real chaos. Look, for those people that are saying this is a game that the administration is playing, they need to go back to school and take a math class. And I'll give you an example. Last month, about 40,000 family units entered this country illegally. ICE has less than 3,000 family beds. 40,000 people, 3,000 beds. Of course they're going to be released. The only thing that's changed is that rather than Border Patrol sending them to ICE to be released, Border Patrol is releasing them themselves rather than tying up two agencies to do one job. Border Patrol is doing it now. That's the only thing that's changed. These people have been released. The last few months are going to keep being released until Congress fixes the system.
And where do the people go? What happens to them?
Well, a lot of them get ankle bracelets. If they can show they have an address they're going to, the address can be verified. If they're free of disease, like when they go to the family residential centers, we check them for, we've had cases of chickenpox, measles, TB. We need to make sure they're not being released in the community with some sort of disease that can be spread. We take as much data as we can where they're going, try to verify that, and some get ankle bracelets, and we hope they show up at court. Of course, many of them don't, and they're off to become a fugitive to join the other 600,000 fugitives already in the United States.
I don't know if you were watching when William Lajeunesse reported just a few minutes ago atop the hour that some of these children are really caught in a tough spot and a dangerous spot for them and end up being released and then spiraled back into the system, some of them going back to Guatemala to then be trafficked back up again with mules, people trying to pay to get them to go, family, whatnot, try to get them to go north. What is that journey?
Look, it's absolutely tragic. We have cases, we have intelligence, we have real cases where we investigate trafficking. Children are being rented by the cartels to single adults because they know if you cross the border with a child, chances are you won't be detained, and if you're detained, you're only detained for a couple of weeks. So kids are being used, they're being put across the border, then sent back, rented to another adult. Look, during the whole zero-tolerance family separation, when the first 120 kids were ordered to be returned to the parents, we found out that 6 of the 100 weren't even their parents based on DNA testing. So we have evidence that's happening. And the latest funding bill that the president signed, that Democrats put language in there, that ICE can no longer take action on parents that have their children smuggled into the country. So not only can we not arrest and put them in immigration proceedings, you can't charge them with hiring a criminal organization to smuggle their child. It's ridiculous.
Talk to me about these detention centers, because you said do the math, and the math certainly did not comport to anything successful when you have that many people versus fewer beds. And while you do that, we're watching the crossings in Yuma, Arizona. That is the video on everybody's screen. Tom?
The family detention center is about 3,000 beds. They were built under my leadership at ICE. And, they're not jails. They're not surrounded by barbed wire fences. These are dorm-like facilities where the mother and child can stay together in a room. We got child psychologists. We got pediatricians. We got medical care for the mother and the child. We have schooling for the child, one of the best schooling programs out there. We can find that. We got a child that can go to a refrigerator and get juice and milk, vegetables, fruit, 24/7. Better than the conditions they came from. We take very good care of these people, unlike what some of the politicians say, like AOC, children dying in custody. Not one child has ever died in this facility. We take very good care of these children. We take very good care of these families. But we need to detain them long enough to see a judge. Unfortunately, Ninth Circuit decided we can only detain them for 20 days, which isn't long enough to see a judge. So they get released. Most don't show up in court, and if they can show up in court and get an order removal, they're not leaving.
Yeah, so you're talking about the detention centers, as I asked you to, the 3 children who reportedly have died in U.S. custody. You're saying we're separate from that detention situation.
No, those children died in the custody of the Border Patrol, but it wasn't the Border Patrol's fault. They did everything they could to save these children. It was, you want to put blame on somebody, put it on the parents who drug them 1,000 miles through the desert, and put it on Congress for not closing the loopholes that entices these families to keep coming.
Tom Homan, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
U.S.-backed forces on